Imagine a country with bustling cities, modern infrastructure, and 5 million people, yet 80% of its land remains completely uninhabited. No houses, no roads, no human footprint whatsoever. This isn't some remote corner of Siberia or the Sahara Desert. This is New Zealand, a nation roughly the size of the United Kingdom where wilderness still rules supreme. It sits in the southwestern Pacific Ocean, about 2,000 kilometers southeast of Australia. This island nation consists of two main islands, the North Island and South Island, plus hundreds of smaller islands scattered across the ocean. Together, they span over 268,000 square kilometers. Yet despite being a fully developed nation with thriving cities like Auckland and Wellington, the vast majority of this land remains as wild as it was centuries ago. So what does uninhabited actually mean? We're talking about land where no permanent human settlements exist. No towns, no farms, no infrastructure, just pure, untouched wilderness stretching for hundreds of kilometers. This includes towering mountain ranges, dense temperate rainforests, windswept plateaus, and fjords that plunge dramatically into the sea. The South Island holds the crown for most remote and wild landscapes. The Southern Alps form a spine down the island's western side with peaks soaring over 3,000 meters. Mount Cook, the highest peak, reaches 3,724 meters into the sky. These mountains create a formidable barrier, with glaciers carving through valleys and permanent snowfields glittering in the sunlight. West of the Southern Alps lies Fiordland, one of the most untouched wilderness areas on Earth. This region receives up to 9 meters of rain annually, creating a landscape so lush and impenetrable that large areas have never been fully explored. Vertical granite cliffs rise straight from the sea, waterfalls cascade thousands of meters down moss-covered rock faces, and ancient forests cling to impossibly steep slopes. The terrain itself explains much of why New Zealand remains so empty. Mountains cover about 75% of the South Island. These aren't gentle rolling hills but jagged, steep ranges that make human settlement nearly impossible. The slopes are too steep for agriculture, too remote for infrastructure, and too rugged for easy access. New Zealand's isolation played a crucial role in shaping both its landscape and settlement patterns. The islands broke away from the supercontinent Gondwana about 80 million years ago. This isolation created one of the most unique ecosystems on Earth. Without land mammals, birds evolved to fill ecological niches usually occupied by mammals. Many became flightless, having no natural predators to escape from. When Polynesian settlers arrived around 700 years ago, they found a land unlike anywhere else. These Maori people established settlements primarily in coastal areas and river valleys where resources were abundant and travel was easier. The rugged interior remained largely unexplored, considered the domain of spirits and gods in Maori mythology. European colonization beginning in the 1800s followed similar patterns. Settlers established towns along coastlines and inaccessible valleys. They quickly realized that New Zealand's mountainous terrain made inland expansion incredibly challenging. Unlike Australia or North America, where vast flat plains invited settlement, New Zealand's landscape actively resisted it. Today, over 86% of New Zealand's population lives in urban areas. Auckland alone houses about 1/3 of the entire population. This concentration in cities means the countryside remains remarkably empty. Drive an hour outside major cities and you'll find yourself surrounded by wilderness that feels utterly primordial. The uninhabited lands harbor some of the world's most precious ecosystems. New Zealand's forests contain species found nowhere else on Earth. The kauri trees in northern regions can live over 2,000 years and grow to 17 meters in diameter. Walking beneath these giants feels like stepping into a cathedral of living wood. The country's commitment to conservation has protected much of this wilderness. About 30% of New Zealand's land area enjoys protected status as national parks, reserves, or conservation areas. The Department of Conservation manages over 8.6 million hectares, ensuring these wild places remain intact for future generations. Fiordland National Park alone covers 1.2 million hectares, making it one of the largest national parks in the world. Within its boundaries, you'll find ecosystems ranging from coastal fjords to alpine peaks. The park receives so much rainfall that scientists estimate some valleys contain plants that have never experienced drought in their entire existence. The uninhabited regions support incredible biodiversity. The kakapo, a flightless nocturnal parrot, survives only in predator-free sanctuaries within these wild areas. These remarkable birds can live over 90 years and are among the world's rarest creatures. Only around 200 individuals exist today, each one precious beyond measure. New Zealand's wilderness also protects unique invertebrates like the giant weta, an insect that can weigh more than a sparrow. These creatures have remained virtually unchanged for millions of years, living fossils that connect us to Earth's ancient past. They thrive in the remote forests where human impact remains minimal. The sensory experience of New Zealand's uninhabited lands is overwhelming. Imagine standing in a valley where the only sounds are birdsong and rushing water. The air smells of damp earth and native plants with fragrances found nowhere else. Moss grows so thick on tree trunks that it feels like velvet beneath your fingers. In Fjordland, mist rises from the valleys each morning, creating ethereal landscapes where mountains appear and disappear like ghosts. The silence is profound, broken only by the calls of native birds like the tui, whose complex songs echo through the forest canopy. Climate and weather patterns also contribute to keeping these lands wild. The Southern Alps create dramatic weather systems, with conditions changing rapidly and unpredictably. Areas can receive several meters of snow in a single storm, cutting off access for months. This harsh climate makes permanent settlement impractical in many regions. New Zealand faces ongoing challenges in protecting its uninhabited wilderness. Introduced species like possums, rats, and stoats devastate native wildlife that evolved without mammalian predators. Conservation efforts focus on creating predator-free sanctuaries where native species can recover. Some ambitious projects aim to make entire regions predator-free, restoring ecosystems to their pre-human state. Climate change poses new threats to these pristine environments. Glaciers in the Southern Alps are retreating at accelerating rates. Scientists predict that many could disappear within decades, fundamentally altering these landscapes. Rising temperatures also allow invasive species to spread into previously inhospitable areas. Yet New Zealand's commitment to conservation offers hope. The country has pioneered innovative techniques for ecosystem restoration. Projects like Zealandia in Wellington demonstrate that damaged ecosystems can recover when given proper protection. Native species are returning to areas where they vanished generations ago. The uninhabited 80% of New Zealand represents something increasingly rare in our crowded world, truly wild places where nature operates on its own terms. These lands remind us that humans don't need to dominate every landscape. Sometimes the greatest legacy we can leave is simply letting wilderness be wild. New Zealand proves that a modern, prosperous nation can coexist with vast wilderness. The empty lands aren't wasted space but living treasures that sustain unique life forms and inspire wonder in all who experience them. In a world where wild places shrink daily, New Zealand's uninhabited lands stand as a testament to what we can preserve when we choose conservation over exploitation. These mountains, forests, and fjords aren't just empty spaces on a map. They're irreplaceable sanctuaries where Earth's ancient rhythms continue unchanged, reminding us of the wild planet we all share.